Hello YouTube, Sidekick here in my trusty A-10A, heading out on a little mission on the Syria map. The purpose of the mission today is to put to the test a couple of the things that I've been trying out on the range lately, and to try those things in a bit more tactical setting. Specifically, I'm going to go practice using a pop-up attack in the A-10 to attack a target protected by some short and actually long-range air defenses. If you want to see the range work that I'm talking about, you can go check out the videos in the links above. So one of those videos was about how to handle threats in the A-10, and the other was about how to do an aim-off pop-up attack. Okay, so here is the basic scenario for this mission. It's, say, the early 1980s. We're in Israel at the Ramat David Air Base. We're part of a U.S. A-10 squadron supporting Israel's confrontation with Syria on the Golan Heights. I won't go into how that occurred. Let's just assume somehow Israel and Syria got into it on the Golan Heights again sometime in the 1980s. We're on call on the ground because nowhere in Israel is very far from the front line, so you don't need to be in the air. We have received intel that there's a nice traffic jam building around this intersection here because of some previously destroyed vehicles and some that have bogged down trying to bypass the blockage. At any rate, there's a large number of soft vehicles in the area at last report, all pretty much stationary. In other words, a nice fat juicy Hawg target. We're expecting that there will be at least some short-range air defenses, including either SA-9 IR missile vehicles or ZSU-23-4 self-propelled air defense artillery, or maybe both. We're not really expecting a high concentration, but we know that there's bound to be some. We also know that the Syrians have a reasonably intact network of SA-6 and SA-2 SAM sites that pretty much blanket the area. So operating at altitude is going to be a non-starter, at least operating at altitude for any length of time. So our plan is going to be to go out over the Sea of Galilee and then drop down to treetop level and ingress basically at 0 feet, first by going up this gully and then turning towards the target. We'll fly straight toward the target at 4.5 nautical miles from the target. We'll offset by 20 degrees, and then at about 2.7 nautical miles, we will pop up at 30 degrees to around 5,000 feet, where we should be able to spot the target. At that altitude, we should have a decent chance against AAA, and if we deploy flares, we should be able to get any IR missile launchers, hopefully before they get us. That's the theory, at least. So let's go give it a try. All right, here we are coming up to the runway. We've got to cross the runway to find the taxiway on the other side. Here in the Ramat David Air Base. So one thing you will have noticed is that we're carrying Mark 20 Rockeyes today. These just are really the most effective weapons against this kind of soft vehicles that we're going out for in DCS. In truth, the Rockeyes might not be the most realistic ordnance, might not have been what pilots at the time actually would have been carrying, but given the way DCS handles splash damage, if you want to hit have any kind of decent area of effect, they're really the only choice. The slick bombs just don't. Even with a soft vehicle, you almost have to have a direct hit on a vehicle to have any appreciable effect on it. So we're going to fly with Rockeyes and see how we do with that. All right, time to get rolling, and we are off. Okay, here we are out over the Sea of Galilee. All right, there's our ravine, so it is go time. Get down right below the level of the ravine, actually fly this as a trench run. The idea here is not so much that we're worried about at this range really being engaged by SAM sites. It's more that we just want to stay off the radar screens, delay being detected for as long as possible to actually, surprise the defenders so they don't see us coming. Plus, it's always kind of fun to fly a trench run in the A-10. So again, in terms of managing the threat, the whole idea here is that we're flying nice and low, not just to stay below the radar horizon of any longer range SAM sites that might be out there, also really just to retain the element of surprise. Although I have not simulated all of the other things that would be going on in this in a mission like this, just to save resources. Truthfully, this is going to be a very busy environment, one hopes. We certainly wouldn't be the only aircraft out flying a mission, one would assume. There would be lots of hot metal flying around from a variety of sources. So, if we don't make ourselves conspicuous, then we basically get to the point where before anybody realizes that we're the real threat, we're basically on them and able to be deploying ordnance. So, at least for my money, this is one of the places in which DCS kind of struggles to simulate reality. Not DCS's fault, but this would be a very busy environment. There would be other aircraft. There would also be lots of ground combat going on. So, ground forces on the other side would have lots on their minds besides looking for us. But DCS doesn't really have a way of simulating that confusion in the minds of the ground forces on the other side. So I think that typically in a mission like this that's very simple, those ground forces would detect us much earlier than they normally would, especially if we fly at any kind of altitude. So that's why we're really scraping the floor here. Okay, we've done our aim off. Just watching the distance to target, around 2.8, 2.7. We're going to pull up to 30 degrees at 3 to 4 G. And then we're going to start looking for the target, and we're also going to start looking for the threat. Essentially, again, the whole point is if we see them before they see us and react, then we're going to win the race. Okay, we've got an SA-6 sight on the RWR. We just need to make sure that we get down quickly enough before he has a chance to get tracking on us. There's the intersection that we're looking for, just short of that smoke. Oops, there comes an IR missile. Good thing we're flaring. Give him lots of room. And now it's just a matter of lining up on that. Those smoke trails, nice marker right back to where we want to be. And he keeps firing, but we keep flaring, and it's working. Just got to get the pipper on him. Pipper's coming up. And release. There's the first round. Brake hard to the left, keep flaring. And hopefully that round of Mark 20s is going to take care of at least that. That threat. Now, I got the PDA on so I know that it has, but even if I didn't, I'm going to act like I didn't, so I'm still flaring just in case there's another threat around. So we're going to come around here pretty hard, pop up. Take another run at the target from a different direction, which is always a good thing to do. No sign of any AAA. So we'll get one more pass in here with the Mark 20s. Yeah, starting there, and bomb's gone. right across the two roads that time. Once again, trying to get down here. We still, the RWR is still seeing the SA-6, but we certainly haven't gotten any tracking tones.
Altitude.
We seem to be getting down fast enough, breaking his lock each time. It's an A-10 mission, so we got to go up and see if there's anything left to take a shot at with the gun. And there's the SA-6 coming back again, but again, if we keep our exposures down to reasonably short, then there just really isn't a chance for him to get tracking on us, and so it's not really a threat. Not a whole heck of a lot left to shoot here, but we got to give them a going away present. All right, I think that's going to do for us.
Altitude.
Keep flaring as we go out of town. Now that they know we're here, doesn't matter if we keep announcing our presence with the flares, just in case there's somebody around.
Altitude.
It's a wise idea of taking a shot at us as we head out of town. And once again, we're just going to stay right down on the deck, minimize our exposure to anybody, even if they know we're here. If we're down nice and low, it's going to be hard for them to see us coming, line up on us. Also stay below the radar horizon of that SA-6 site or any other SAM sites that are around. So, I think that's going to do it for us today. I won't bother flying all the way back to the base with you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's an example of how to put into practice the stuff we've been talking about how to use the A-10 in combat. If you have any comments about how you manage the same stuff or any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or come on by the Discord server. As always, liking and subscribing would really help me be able to create more of these videos. But for now, this is going to be Sidekick, signing off.